Hello and welcome to Powered by Intuition, where we explore patterns, possibilities, and the power of perceptions. I am your host, Brittany Purr, the illuminator, bringing transforming fear into fortune and chaos into clarity. And whew, it's been a doozy lately, hasn't it? Mercury is in retrograde stuff. So I was having like a little bit of sound issues on one of my other devices and getting all set up. And I tried giving myself time to have dinner and all that stuff. And it is what it is. So yeah, starting a little bit late today, but all good. I will be going to bed early once this is complete. I might hop on to TikTok and do a little bit of talking to other people. Just depends on how I feel because stuff has been intense in a good way, not in a bad way. And one of the things that's coming through with that is like, count your blessings, always be in gratitude. Recently spoke to one of my connections, and they were like, yeah, I started doing the resilience journal, and they're going through it. But they ended up getting triggered by this event that happened in their life. And there was something else around it where like things were just kind of picking up, and a lot of what the writings ended up being was like something negative. This is in the past. The resilience journal, it's all about bringing more light to things, bringing more possibilities. Yes, there are activities, there is some work to do. It's not just blah, being very simple uh in like just jotting things down and not actually taking action. It's designed for you to take action, but it's gradual. It's not like all of a sudden, hey, jump into, saving someone from a car wreck. It's nothing that crazy. It's more like, hey, do this each day. It starts out with the writing prompts, and then it goes into what's one thing that you can do for yourself today? One small thing that you can do as self care. Maybe that's just like picking a flower, putting it in a little vase for yourself. Could be something very simple as like just giving yourself 5 minutes to take a deep breath and breathe it out and just be still. Could be something as simple as just enjoying one of your favorite teas. It could be something as simple as just having a kombucha. It doesn't have to be something complex or elaborate or huge. It's very gradual, it's very simple guidance that kind of just like slowly, incrementally, maybe increases it a little bit. Like, hey, do a random act of kindness. No pressure, just something. Maybe that's just paying for someone's meal or handing a nutritional bar to someone who's homeless. Be something as simple as that. So it's designed to create positivity around you and not make things like re traumatizing. Starling, chill out. Um, that is the little 5 pound fur ball. Um, but every day through the journal, there is a little snippet. There are repeaters, and one of those repeaters are gratitude. And gradually, as you go through the journal, it changes and it shifts to a different thing, but it's a constant that is throughout the process. So, one side of the page, you have that constant, consistent, basically muscle building, right? So, if you're doing gratitude every day, you're going to begin to shift your mindset into looking for the things that you're thankful for. So, cycling, coming full circle back, I'm very thankful and grateful to have an abundance of work. So much of an abundance that I am overflowing and I'm having to share that abundance with two people, which is why if you saw my TikTok today, I did a little video called um, Coalition Over Competition. And it's just as simple as that. Coalition over competition. So when you work together, when you work with people, when you know you're good and you have other people that are good around you and your workload gets too much, handoff. You have a handoff. And now, not only have you created this coalition or this community of people that you know are trustworthy and you have the ability to support people by going, I will connect you with someone reputable. Now you're the point person. Now you're kind of a consultant, right? And if it doesn't work out, they'll come back to you and be like, yeah, this person doesn't work out. Is there someone else? Okay, well, let's find someone else. As you progress in that, then you can do like a revenue share. Like, oh, hey, I sent this person to you. Any way you can give me a kickback on that? If you're sending someone a lot of work because they maybe have a skill set that you don't, but they're in the same market, like say coaching, or, let's say you're a mechanic and, this is kind of like what my mechanic does. They share a pavilion with others and they will pass their work on, which is why I'm like, okay, coalition over competition. And that's why I will not shift the people who do my oil change or work on my car at all, for that reason, because I know that their integrity with being in community, which is also coincidentally in the resilience journal. Have to do my plugins, okay? Because it's something that is necessary in this day and age. That's why I built it. I built it out of the chaos that happened from the Los Angeles fire. And I had to cut friends off because their hearts and minds were all about blame instead of helping people and supporting people in one of the greatest times of crisis. That moment where you just lost everything, that terrifying moment where you haven't completely processed all the losses. And then once people are settled after the chaos, then you can start going, what happened? But the blame doesn't happen until you look at the actual situation and take the time to do the research and go, what happened? So I had to cut those people off because that's not something that I'm aligned with. That is not aligned with my values. And if that's the way that they deal in crisis, they start attacking people, I'm not part of that. Coalition over competition. Competition says attack. Coalition says we need to work together for these purposes. And there is a process of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. With that said, let's jump into the theme of today, and it's where are the good people? And this kind of came up earlier this week with, of course, it's always current events. Let me preface this. If you are tuning in, because I forgot to do this little disclaimer thing. If you are tuning in, I will bring up, if you are tuning in months, years, eons from now, these cats, eons from now, just know my intention for this is, as my cats are fighting in the background, because Starling is a little feisty feist, and she's going after the little goth stepchild ninja that is going to kick her AZZ if she keeps this up. But sorry. This episode will find you wherever you are. The wisdom that I share in this is timeless. It's not something that is just encapsulated in this moment, in this time. These teachings they can apply with any situation and any scenario. So as I just covered, if you're dealing with a crisis and someone's sitting there like blaming someone about it rather than helping you, crises are going to happen. It's part of the human condition. It's part of sharing the world with others. It is something that is going to happen in your life at some point in time, whether minor or extreme. And if someone is just sitting there blaming someone else instead of helping you, that does not work. That does not serve and support. Okay? If you're like, hey, can you, support me with clothing? And they're like, oh, those people were terrible. That person never should have done this. And you're like, I need clothing. That's that's terrible. That is going to be even more trauma on top of the trauma you're dealing with. Nobody has time for that. So all of what I share is timeless, and it is going to meet you, and this is my intention for it, is that it is going to meet you at the time that you need it most. This will appear on your feed, appear on your timeline, or someone will send it to you. Which, if you're listening to this and you're like, ooh, that's a nugget of wisdom, and I think this person needs this right now, please share it forward. Get these messages out there. They are designed to serve and support people wherever they are at, whatever time they are in, because I'm broadcasting myself into the future at this point, and this is going to live online. Yes, I am time traveling right now, while being live, because there's always a delay. So just letting you know. Anyways, on that note, let me proceed. Where are the good people? Right now in the world, there is chaos, there is fighting, there is warfare, there is a created, man made shortage when there is abundance in the world. But because Strait of Hormuz is closed, there is this manufactured shortage of something that a lot of the world decided to depend on. No, we are kind of mid shift. It's not like we weren't warned about this, um, in many different ways, whether it's, climate stuff, dealing with weather craziness, or um, dealing with green tech, all of that stuff. Like, there's always that understanding that resources in the regards of oil would be limited. I at least learned that in high school. No, actually, middle school. And maybe you didn't hear about that. Maybe you didn't learn that. Depends on where you're at. Sometimes some people learn different things, or this is not brought to people's attention, whatever. But there is a knowledge of that that has been public. And so being broadsided by this kind of shows me the fragility of the systems that we've created and putting our eggs all in one basket. And how there has been kind of this hold on ensuring that happens through many different ways. And it's like, when we look at this, well, why is this happening? A lot of people want to place blame on different entities. Now, technically, we're to blame, right? But looking at the fear mongering that's happening, of course, people want to blame the other country. And there have been warnings put out in California on certain things. I'm not going to go into details. Kind of don't want to get shadow banned, even though on TikTok I'm already pretty much there. But it was interesting because I'm dealing with someone who is from Iran. And I just looked at the situation, and this individual is just so heart-centered and such a beautiful person. So there is the Persian New Year of Nowruz. Hopefully I'm saying that. Nowruz. I don't know the exact pronunciation at me. Please don't come after me. I just know the spelling of it. But part of that celebration is setting a table, and the table is set beautifully with different items. And one of those is like a goldfish. And this person has made it their heart-centered mission to basically rescue and home these goldfish. because a lot of people are kind of left going, well, what do I do with this goldfish afterwards? And so it it was just like such a beautiful moment where I'm like, here's someone that a lot of people, I'm going to say misguided people in the States, would lump this person in with that area and never give this person a chance and would never want to see their heart and would automatically label them as bad based on what their ethnicity is. And it just got me thinking, it's like, well, there's the good person right there, right? And, another friend who has dealt with Muslims in a different country had bad experiences, but here it's different. There is more good, kind-hearted people, and that was shown through an experiment where someone called around to different religious affiliations, and the one that constantly showed up was the Muslim communities. They showed up and stepped up. And so, that's what kind of inspired me in the questions, like, well, where are the good people? And they're right here. But a lot of times we don't give them a chance. A lot of times we're coming from our own brokenness, our own lack of healing, and our own inability to see the forest for the trees. But there's another aspect of this too, that a lot of people tend to forget, is that not everybody is this constant baseline of good or bad. Everyone is a mixed bag. We have the ability to create harm, even with good intentions behind it, and we have the ability to create amazingly good things. We are powerful in that regard. We can make amazing, wonderful things happen, and sometimes those changes lead to bad things happening, even though they come from a space that could be more aligned and affiliated with something that we would consider good, but we're not in that person's mind or perception or understanding to see that they're coming from a space of good, and they are automatically labeled as bad. Now, I did have another interesting interaction this week with a friend where I've just been so overwhelmed that I'm like in full on introvert mode. So, I'm saving energy for this. Like, I have my energy allotted and saved for different aspects of things that I'm dealing with right now. But by the time I get home, like, look at me, I'm even leaning like, but by the time I get home, I'm fairly exhausted from the day. I am out by 7 a.m. And so I'm waking up at like 6 a.m., out by 7. And then I don't get home until like 7 or 8. And then I'm still on because I'm still supporting someone in a different way. So yeah, it's pretty intense what I'm dealing with and how much is on my plate right now. So I've had to be strategic, and if I can't handle something, I've got to just offload it. Like, I can't even bring myself to dealing with it because it's been a lot. And like, if I'm exhausted, I can't do like the friendly chit chat sort of thing. It just really exhausts me more because introvert mode, even though I'm more of an ambivert in certain ways. Like, I can go out to a club and feel recharged just by being in that energy, or I can go roller skating and kind of be social and kind of get recharged a little bit. Performance is recharging, but when it comes to like just the chit chat, I just can't. So that's challenging, and that is very draining on me. And, this person has stuff that they deal with. We all deal with this stuff. And I was like, are you, feeling like you're angry with me? You need to check in. And I'm like, I could have responded to that in many different ways because I just, was very clear of like, I am in introvert mode. I do not have energy. I am working like 12 to 16 hours a day. I literally can't. I don't have the space for that. I have a lot on my plate. Even my, somewhat on duty spare time is like backlogged with other stuff. Or I'm just trying to like take a brain break and tune out, do something else. Um, but it was like I could have responded to that in so many different ways because essentially they're asking me to do emotional labor for them. And I'm like, I cannot. Like I just said, I'm exhausted and that I'm an introvert and I just can't. And that was like, you just need to check in. And I'm like, I cannot. And I didn't respond to that to them because I know where their mind is at. It's not like they're trying to, subvert me or not listen. This is the space that they're in. So I had to sit there and think and be like, you know, are they being mean? Like, no, it's not coming from a space of being mean. It's coming from a space of who they are and what they're dealing with in the moment. And so I was like thinking, yeah, you're going to have to handle your own emotions. Wow, that would have been so biatchy of me, right? To answer like that. That would have made me, in their eyes, a bad person, right? Because, I know they're in a sensitive space. And instead, I thought about it and I'm like, how can I respond to this in a way where it's like I keep the peace? Because if I responded with that, that would be more emotional labor, right? So I would cause my own problems. And then once again, that would be like something that comes through as bad person. I wouldn't like that for myself either, if someone was doing that to me. And so in the moment, I was like, what do I need? What do I need in this moment? And I need patience. And so I responded with that. I was like, please be patient with me at this time. And that is something that can get the job done, right? That's making a request of just be patient. If there's something wrong that I think really, really needs to be handled and I'm really pissed off, I'll let you know. I don't mess around with that stuff. But when it's me, I can handle that. I know what is within my realm to handle and to take care of. I know what is within my realm to create good and peace in the moment through making a request on what I actually needed instead of being catty or throwing that back at them or, feeling like, you're making me do emotional labor in this moment and I cannot do emotional labor in this moment. Like, that wouldn't translate when someone is in a space of having the feelings that this person was dealing with. And so that shifted everything. That is a way to look at things where I was like, I have now clearly communicated a need and put in a request based on that need. And it's not a request that is challenging, maybe a little challenging for them, but it also gives them the space to do the processing necessary. So it hit all those markers. And we have to understand that even the worst of people can often do the best of things. And that was something that also came up where a person that I've dealt with who is, well, I'm going to say two people that I've dealt with that have narcissistic tendencies. they genuinely want to do nice things, but don't know how to really accomplish that, or focus on their void, what they're void of, whether it's self-esteem, whether it's, you know, giving themselves love, whatever they're using people for. I'm gonna put it that way. Oh, thank you so much for the likes. Appreciate that. Um, a lot of them, like, I'm gonna bring up an example. My mom, not the best of people. Uh, she's like, yeah, my friend, when we made this deal, like when my friend's husband dies, that she's gonna come and live with me. But I want my guest bedroom. I like my office. So I was thinking of getting a place where my friend can live in the basement. And I'm just like, okay, there's those tendencies. Um, but she instilled in me values, like good values, values where I did um, community service or community services or supported nonprofits. That was something that I think was extremely valuable within my childhood that helped me to connect with the ideas of community and giving back. So, right now, cat out of the bag, I serve and support a veteran who doesn't have family, and there are no strings attached. All this stuff is in a trust. Yay! Like, for the love of God, if you have assets, have a trust, okay? Wills do not do it, trusts will. Have a trust, okay? So he's already set up, supported. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Okay, nobody has to worry about anything. There's no strings attached. But he has no family. And he's a longtime neighbor, and his place burned down. And so I've been like, I'm not going to let this guy fall through the cracks. I see what happens to veterans when they fall through the cracks. So I stepped up. I'm like, we're family now. We're family now, okay? But we were friends within the apartment complex that we lived in. So that once again was very communally oriented, very tight knit group of people in this quirky space. But that, you know, he's in the hospital right now. So that's twice a week. You know, I'm serving and supporting him in multiple ways. And so, because my mom instilled in me those values, I'm able to support, right? But I'm not perfect at all. But that was from someone who has narcissistic tendencies. Mixed bag, right? So, you know, another individual who has narcissistic tendencies was also like, yeah, doing this nonprofit work was amazing. And they've always wanted to do more of it. And they wanted to do like a big showcase of it. Have they actually done it? No. But that they still understand that when you do good things or random acts of kindness in the world, it does serve and support your mental health. Surprise, surprise. It has a kickback, whether you know it or not. Um, you know, and even with the certain individual in the regime right now, there was someone who talked about how he supported him. And so now they're like buddy buddy, of course, very close knit and that sort of thing. But when you look at these, no one is straight evil and no one is straight good. Like there is always the potential for someone to be a mixed bag, even though some people can be extremely vile when they're not behaving the best. This is humanity. There is no such thing as black and white. Those are non-colors. When you look at colors, they are labeled, black and white are labeled as non-colors. This is like practical realizations, right? It's very basic. And yet, some people are corralled into this idea of black and white thinking. Some people have, certain different ways of thinking that put them in that space as well. So we kind of get to shift our mindset a little bit, work ourselves out of those ruts, expand, flex that expansion, and learn to see people as mixed bags and learn to see the good that comes out of things. Learn to see that even though, let's say someone is uh, challenging and despised as loved or despised as Elon Musk, I look at his situation and be like, wow, that's a man with autism who has been able to do some great things in the world. Even though now that's kind of backfired in a way. Deep breath there. But I can still admire being like, wow, he is neurodivergent. He's done some impressive things with that. And instead of looking at the individual as hated, I would like to see people go, that's possible. Let's do it in a way that serves and supports people better. Let's do it in a way that is not destroying the earth. Let's do it in a way that actually maybe saves the earth, saves animals, helps us to evolve in better ways, helps us to learn to do better things. Because that is a possibility. We are capable of great good and great harm. And when we understand that, and when we begin to get out of our microcosm of what we think is right, when we get out of our microcosm of self-righteousness, we can begin to connect with each other. We can begin to not only take in, oh, wow, I've messed up things, and we can shift things in a better way. I think I mentioned this last week. Alan Watts has a talk which is called I think it's the Japanese ceremonial tea. You can look it up on YouTube with that. And there's one part of it where he says, there's also a song based on this too, by the Electric Suns under that same title. He's like, and I'm going to paraphrase this because I don't remember the exact line, but we have something started and we don't really know how to stop when it's going the wrong way. And I've just been reflecting on that for the better part of a year, where I'm just like, wow, that was done back in the 70s. And we're still dealing with these same problems today. And so that's my little task for you guys as I begin to wrap this up is that beginning to see that sometimes we don't really know how to stop. Sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And when you see that you're paving a road to hell, are you willing to stop? Look at the work that you've done and go, oops, let's put a right turn here. Let's do a U-turn here. Let's turn this thing around. Let's change it. Let's do better in the world. Let's grow and progress in a better way with these tools that we've created instead of causing more harm. So that's something to think about. And if you are watching this right now, I would love to hear your thoughts. What's sticking with you? What is keeping you stuck, disappointed, what are the things that you need to kind of put the brakes on and go, you know what? Let's turn this piece around. Let's do something better. Maybe it's just looking at the situation differently and being like, huh, that's interesting that they did that. That's not a, doesn't really come from a good thing. But the possibility to shift this into a better way exists. As if you can do something of great evil, you can do something of great good. And these things happen every day. We're capable of both. We're mixed bags as human beings. It's kind of funny with cancel culture. It's like, oh, this person is canceled. They're just this. Not always. But with that comes that space of, if someone really is remorseful about something that got them canceled, what is enough for them to show and display and have that ability to get back into good graces? What is it that they need to do? And you can't be like, oh, they need to just off themselves. That's not a solution at all. That's never a solution. But I saw it with one content creator where like they did 5 videos of remorse. And I'm like, look, one was enough, being very clear about the situation, being very clear about admitting that they were wrong, being very clear in their apology for kind of going after a content creator of something that was very like lighthearted and um, kind of that content creator took it the wrong way. And she hit all the markers of like someone who really genuinely was making an apology and working to make an amends. And they ended up doing 5 videos on this, and I'm like, yeah, you're the real deal. But people were still like, no, it's not enough. It'll never be enough. And it's like, that does not come from a good space. There has to be a way for people to make right. And if you cannot accept that, you're the problem. Okay. I'm going to be very blunt on that, because there has to be a way for it, right? And on the antithesis of that, let's kind of wrap this up with bias as well. There are people who are really good at saying nice things and having no acts, no work, no follow through behind it. And we got to start looking at those people and it's like, great, you're saying nice things. What have you done? What have you accomplished? I'm speaking very clearly about people who are looking into going into leadership roles of authority. And a lot of people are just seeing a certain face, a certain gender, and some really nice words with nothing behind it. And they're choosing that over someone who's really qualified, who really cares, and just might not have that influence of bias that has been prepackaged into you specifically. So where are the good people when it comes to this? Can you spot them? Or are you letting deception and dogmatic depreciation, self-depreciation, kind of get in the way of seeing what's really there to benefit not only you, but the collective as a whole, all of us, in a better way? I mean, granted, there isn't going to be something that suits everybody, but there's going to be things that serve and support more people than not. And it's time to really look at that. Take that break. Take that pause. and really look at where are the good people, because there will be actions that follow their words. And if there are not actions and just fancy words, you might want to think twice. So, thank you for listening. Please support by liking, subscribing, following, doing the things, and definitely share this with someone that you feel needs this content. And as always, have a good one, be well, stay safe, and really focus on what are the great things that are happening in the world right now. So I wish you a good night, and a reminder, the Resilience Journal is available. If you are watching on YouTube, go down into the description and feel free to get one today. And I actually have a question for people right now. With the Resilience Journal or with any journal, what would help you to stay connected and committed through the process? Let me know in the chat. All right, thank you, and good night to those on YouTube. I'm going to come over to TikTok. Feel free to follow me over there. Bye.